I never used to track these numbers because I don't like numbers. I'm the artsy creative person. I just want to go make a YouTube video. I don't want to deal with all this crazy stuff. But then when you look at those numbers and you see like, oh, I could spend $15 to acquire a new lead who will turn into a, $1,500 customer. And then those people become raving fans when they go through the program and it works for them and they start making money and all of the things.
Hey, my friend, welcome to the Art of Online Business podcast. My name is Rick Mulready, and I'm an online business coach. I'm an ads expert, and most importantly, I'm a dad. And this show is where we help established online course creators and coaches create more profit, more impact with less hustle. All right, let's get into it. In the summer of 2018, Karin Carr had no online business. She was just starting her online business. In the 12 months following, she did about $100,000 in revenue. So started her business in, I think it was July of 2018. And then a little over 3 years later, she just hit $1 million in revenue in her online business. Karin Carr is a realtor who helps other realtors, brokerages, and teams learn how to use YouTube and Google to generate leads. And she does it really, really well. Karin's a former Accelerator member, our Accelerator coaching program. And I asked her to come back on the show because she sent me an email in December at the end of last year saying, you are the first person I need to tell about this. I hit $1 million in revenue in my business. And, telling me how the types of things that contributed to that. And so I was like, are you kidding? Like, that's amazing. Amazing. So I asked her to come on the show here today. I was like, you need to come back on the podcast and share exactly how you have done that, how you went in just over 3.5 years from nothing in your online business to doing $1 million in revenue, which is that number that most people, are longing to hit in their online business. And so that's what we're doing here today. I'm going to have Karin break down exactly the types of things that she has done over the years in order to allow herself to do the kind of year that she just finished up in 2021. And as you're going to hear at the end of this episode, she is working on a busy week, about 35 hours a week. And then on a slower, quote unquote, week, she's doing about 25 hours a week. And you're going to hear everything she's doing, all of the things that have led her to have this kind of success. She's so happy and she's just an amazing person. And I thought that she'd be a really, really good case study for you all to hear the types of things that she's done to see amazing growth in her business. And when she joined Accelerator in, I think it was July of 2020, she was doing about $350,000. And you're going to hear this story here today. But again, end of 2021, $1 million in revenue. Okay. Now, before we go hang out with Karin and you hear the whole story here, if you are an established online course creator, coach, or teacher entrepreneur, and you want to do, no promises, by the way, but if you want to do the types of things that you're going to hear today that Karin has been doing to take her business to the next level, I am making zero promises of $1 million. Don't get me wrong. But what we will help you do is create more profit, more impact with less hustle in your business. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, if you're feeling stuck, if you're not really sure what next steps to be doing, if you need more confidence and more help in the areas of your sales and marketing, systems and processes, your mindset, which you're going to hear a lot about here today, then I want to invite you to apply. It's application only and applications are open. Go to rickmulready.com/accelerator. All right, my friend, without further ado, let's go hang out with Karin Carr. Karin, I want to start this interview off by congratulating you. I got an email from you with an update, the end of December, middle-ish of December. Give me an update on where you're at in your business. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let people know what I'm congratulating you for.
I officially broke 1 million in annual revenue. So, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Crazy to even say it out loud.
I was going to say, how does that feel?
Oh my gosh.
Saying it out loud.
So crazy.
when did you officially start this business?
July 12th of 2018.
2018. So basically barely over 3 years.
Yeah.
And you did, I think what do you say? You did 100K in the first year?
Yes.
2018?
Yep. Well, not 2018. It was like the 12 calendar months. So from July 12th to July 11th of 2019. I don't know why I was counting it that way, but I was like, well, how much did I do in my first 12 months? And it was like 103,000 or something. So I was very happy with that. I mean, I was crazy happy with that. And then I think the next year, then I started going to like actual fiscal years. So when I started counting it that way, I think I did 350,000 the next year. And then I met you and I told you my goal was 500,000. And you said, no, that's not big enough because you're already on track to do 500,000 and it's summertime.
Was that the beginning of 2020?
I think it was like July of 2020. And so I said my goal was 500 and you said, no, you need to stretch. That's not big enough because you're already on track to do that. So like, where's the growth happening if it's already pretty much a guarantee? Sure. So I stretched it to 700, which I thought was like, that was very scary. And
doubling where you were at.
Yeah. And we broke that. We came in at around 750 that year. So then I said, okay, now we're going for the vanity number that everybody wants to get, right? To say that I have a 7-figure business. And there was no real reason why I wanted that number, except that I wanted it to be bigger than the previous year. And I wanted to just see if I could do it. I just wanted to see if it was possible.
I love it. And you finished even over that. Didn't you finish at like 1.1 or something like that? Or pretty darn close to it.
It was pretty darn close to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you went from July of 2018 until July of 2019, did 110,000 or so.
Yep.
Or 103,000, whatever. And then from July of 2019 and we met in like the summer of 2020. You joined Accelerator. You were at 350. I remember that conversation very clearly. You're like, yeah, my goal is 500. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Like you're hitting that no problem. Like let's stretch that out. So anyway, you went from July of 2019 doing about 100K, finishing 2021 just over $1 million. Amazing.
So crazy, isn't it? Yes.
Amazing. So I want to back up, and you've been on the show before talking about your business, the types of things that you were doing. So, but I still want to back up and talk about when we met. I remember one of the things that I remember our initial conversation really clearly. One of the big things that was going on in your business was you were working all the time. You were doing calls with people. Like you couldn't go on vacation without having to take calls and so on.
Right.
How did that start? And you were looking to do some hiring and stuff like that. Now, remind people what it is that you currently do.
I teach real estate agents how to attract people who want to buy and sell houses in their market by using YouTube and Google. I'm all about SEO and organic reach so that when somebody needs the help of a real estate agent and they get online and they start doing a Google search, that you are the person that shows up without having to spend tons and tons of money on pay-per-click ads. It's absolutely possible to be able to do it organically if you want to.
And that's how you built your business as a realtor.
Yes.
And so when you were doing 350 and we met, you were doing launches and you had a little bit of help, but again, your time was so stretched. You had no time for yourself. Like, again, you were going on vacation and still having to work. And that was really bothering you, like rightfully so. What types of changes did you start to make? And what started that snowball towards growing to a $1 million business?
At that time, I had one virtual assistant in the Philippines, and she was wonderful. And the more I gave her to do, the more stuff I wanted to give her to do. It's like you become addicted to outsourcing of, oh, she can do it faster and better than I can. And it's going to be more cost effective for me to pay her to do it than to pay myself to do it, right? Because I should be concentrating on these things that are growing the business and being the visionary and the CEO and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and it has not been easy. In fact, I just had a strategy session with my mindset coach before this call, where I still am finding that it's so hard for me to delegate. And we were trying to drill down into why is that? And what I've discovered is that my brain is telling me when there's something on the to-do list that needs to get done, it causes me anxiety. And if I just do it and then get it off my plate, that I say, oh, that feels so much better. Now I don't have that stress. I don't have that, oh, I got to get that done thing. And she was saying, well, what if you were to delegate it and you said to your assistant or your OBM or whoever is going to do this thing for you, and it took 3 days to get it done instead of an hour? What would the results be? I'm like, it'd be fine. So this is completely a self-imposed deadline. And why am I doing that? So yes, there's still some mindset work for me to do to get this, but I have grown the team. It's just that it's not so easy to let go of all of these tasks. I honestly thought I'd be able to hire all these people and just give them all this stuff to do and like skipping off to Aruba while everybody else did all of the work. It has not worked out that way at all. It's been hard for me to delegate, but now I have an online business manager. I have an executive assistant who is handling my email and my calendar. I have the virtual assistant in the Philippines who has grown her whole team of VAs. She now has 25 people. I remember when I talked to you the last time, I think she had 12 or 15. Now she has 25 people. So she's got a whole staff. And anything that I need for her to do, if she can't personally do it, somebody that works for her can do it. So we've got this whole team of VAs that are at our disposal. We have a video editor, and he also manages our whole video workflow. Then I have a coach in my program. So between the OBM, I do.
That's great.
She is a former student. She's one of my OG students who had amazing success and was killing it. And then when COVID happened, she moved back to Canada and has never left. So she's been in Canada. She moved there from Phoenix and decided not to get her real estate license in Canada. So I said, oh, do you think that you would be interested in being a coach for my program? Because you have been through the program, you have executed, you'd have had amazing results. Like I can't think of anybody who would be a better teacher. Yeah. And so she said yes. So this last launch was mind blowing to me because I pretty much did nothing. I showed up and I was on camera for the 5 live streams for the 5-day challenge. That was all that I did. Everybody else did something else. And we had almost $300,000 launch. So that was the best launch we've ever had. And I did nothing except show up and be the quote unquote on air talent, if you will. And so the more results I have of like, see, when you delegate, look how well it works. Don't you think we should do that some more? I wish it were just so easy for me to give it all away. It's definitely something I have to work on all the time.
There's so much I want to unpack right there, but it's so interesting, right? As you're talking, first of all, I believe you're working with Neil Williams. Is that correct? Yeah. Yes. So for everybody who doesn't know, I've had Neil on a few times on the show. Neil is a master life coach through the Life Coach School, and she is a big part of our Accelerator coaching program. I don't know if you know this, Karin, but she has become even a bigger part of the program since you finished up, which I'm really, really excited about. And so it's so interesting. I totally get what you're saying. And what I was thinking about from a delegation standpoint because I'm like you, I just want to like check things off the list. And that settles my brain down.
Yes.
I wonder, and I'm sure you're talking about this with Neil, but like what came up for me is like, I wonder if we can look at the fact that, okay, I've delegated this. I trust my team to do a really good job. That is okay. My part is done. And I can settle my brain because I've delegated it. over to a team that I really trust and I know is going to do a good job.
That is what I'm going to be like. I'm literally digging around in my desk looking for a pad of Post-it notes so I can write that down and just stick it all around my computer monitor so that every time I have this thought of I should just go do it myself, it's like, nope, there it is right in front of me, written on 14 different sticky notes. Don't do this. You trust your team. They don't need you. They got this.
And the team that you just mentioned, by the way, and I want to kind of go through where you found people.
Sure.
The OBM, since we were working together, is new.
Yes.
The EA is new.
Yes.
The VA you've had for a while.
Yes.
The video editor, unless there's been a change there, it's the same one.
Yes.
And then the coach you just explained. By the way, with the coach, and frankly, with everybody that you're working with there, isn't it so cool to be able to, the coach, for example, moved from Phoenix to Canada, decided that they didn't want to be a realtor in Canada, and you've given this person a job.
Yeah. And she tells me all the time, like, this is the best job I've ever had. Because at one point I thought she's probably making a lot less money being like a salaried employee versus being a real estate agent who, when you sell a big, expensive house, you make a really nice commission check. And she probably is not making the income that she was making back in Phoenix. And I felt a little bit bad about it because I didn't want her to feel like, now I got this, slave driver boss and I'm not making nearly so much money. And she said, are you kidding me? This is the best job I've ever had. This is so rewarding to me to help people have success in their own business. And then when they come back and they say, oh my gosh, it worked. Like I just had a seller call me and say, will you come over and tell me what I need to do to put my house on the market? And they're selling a $500,000 house and they're not even interviewing anybody else. It's as rewarding for her as it was for me, which is why I created the program in the first place, because I wanted everybody to have that kind of success.
Well, why do you think it's her dream job outside of that? I would imagine that she gets her weekends back. She doesn't have to be doing showings on the weekends, right? And realtors have to hustle a lot.
Yeah.
To be, and especially moving to Canada where she was established in Phoenix, I would imagine she'd have to kind of start all over again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you move to a new area, you have to get licensed in the area where you're going to be practicing. So not only is it's not a different state, it's a different country. I don't even know how different the laws must be in another country. You have to get your license, which is not usually all that simple. But then it's not like, hello, I have my real estate license. Now my phone may start ringing. Please feel free to hire me. It's like, well, where are you going to find these clients? How do you find these clients? They do not just walk up and ring your doorbell and say, can you help me buy a house? So you are constantly prospecting. And 80% of real estate agents fail in the first year because the prospecting part is just not fun. Nobody wants to cold call. Nobody wants to call people out of the white pages and just beg for business or tell everybody hey, I got my real estate license. Who do you know that wants to buy or sell a house? And they're going to say, you've been licensed for a day and a half. I'm not going to trust my sister to you. Like, you show me a track record and then I'll refer you some clients. So you spend so much money marketing yourself that first year. You're paying for the education to get your license and then join the Association of Realtors and join your local MLS and pay for signs and lockboxes and all of these things and continuing education classes before you ever make your first dime. And it can easily take 6, 7, 8 months before you sell your first house. So now you're basically working for free for 8 months. I mean, it's a lot harder of a way to earn a living. Like I almost washed out my first couple of years for sure.
Thus, another reason why your program is so successful.
Yeah.
with what you teach.
Because I'm telling you, not that it's the magic bullet, not that it's the only way, anything like that, but it's a way that works. And I feel good about how I'm getting my clients. Like I'm not buying leads. I'm not doing something that makes me feel icky at the end of the day. I'm saying, I'm going to make a YouTube video of like, hey, are you thinking about moving to Savannah? These are 7 things I really wish somebody would have told me before I moved here. And they watch the video and they're like, wow, that was really cool. And oh my gosh, she's a real estate agent. She could help us if we decide to move there. And then when they pick up the phone and call you, they become, can you see this picture on my shelf behind me?
I can.
Okay, so this is a great story. This was a closing I just had a couple months ago. He was an illustrator for Marvel, like a legit illustrator for Marvel in the movies. And he moved to Savannah to get a job as a professor at the Savannah College of Art and Design. So on the closing day, we go to our attorney's office and I walk in and he gives me that. And he drew me as a superhero and said, dear Karin, you are our hero, and drew me as like super agent. Those are the types of clients that I get from YouTube, not the person who says, I'm just looking for whoever who's going to do it the cheapest. Like the only thing that I care about is who's going to charge me the least amount of money. No, the guy's like drawing me as a cartoon superhero. It was amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about that after
I
know. So where did you find your OBM and where did you find your EA?
So at first, it was your virtual retreat. You had a guest, and I can't remember who it was talking about the difference between an OBM and an integrator. And
Erica.
It was Erica. Thank you.
Yep.
And she had said, go on Instagram and look for people's profiles. So I did. And I had a lot of interviews, but nobody was just really... I don't know. There was something that was holding me back. I wasn't finding anybody that was like, this is the person. So I did a Google search and she showed up at the top of the Google search. And I was like, this is what I teach people to do, how to show up at the top of the Google search. And she showed up at the top of the Google search. So she must know something about SEO and how this whole search engine optimization thing works. Yeah. I set an appointment with her. Not 5 minutes into the conversation, it was like, this is the person. I just knew immediately. So yeah, she's been with me for probably almost 9 months, maybe getting close to a year.
So you literally searched on online business manager.
Yeah.
And she was right at the top there.
Yeah.
What were 5 minutes in? What made you say she's the person?
As I was describing to her my business and what I've been doing that's not working and what I need, it was like she understood, this is what you need and this is how we're going to fix it. And when she came up with this proposal, it was like, oh, where have you been all my life?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It just something, and her personality, and we got along and all of that stuff too. So I liked that she was also in the same time zone as me, because as much as I love having the VA in the Philippines, it's a 13-hour time difference. And so sometimes it's really hard to be able to, like when I do a live launch and she is online with me, I feel terrible. The poor woman's up at like 4 a.m. doing this because I'm doing it at 3 p.m. So it's nice to have somebody in the same time zone as me as well. She's in Ohio.
Okay, cool. And did she find your executive assistant or did you find that person?
Yes. So I said, I hate email. Email is the bane of my existence.
I remember you saying that in our first conversation.
I get so much email every day and most of it is total garbage. I just want somebody to say, these are the 5 messages that you must respond to. And I will delete everything else or respond to it for you. Yeah. And so she placed the ad. She did all of the initial interviewing. I didn't come in until we'd narrowed it down to our top 3 candidates. And then we did Zoom calls with them. And I said, she said, I think this one is the winner. And I said, honestly, I think I agree and let's run with it. So it's
this is optimized CEO level stuff here that we're talking about. I love this. Is music to my ears. What about your video editor? Because I know that you've had this video. It's the same person, right? Yeah. You've had this video. I think you got this person while you were in Accelerator.
Yes, I did.
If I'm not mistaken. And you've been very happy. How did you find that person?
Yeah. I just placed an ad on Facebook of all places. And I said, this is a virtual position. You do not need to be local. But when you place an ad in Facebook Marketplace, they make you put in a location. I can't just say online. So I put in Savannah, Georgia, because that's where I live. And he just so happens to live in Savannah, Georgia. And I think that's probably how Facebook works, is they're showing your ads to people that are local. And he said, I was a big hotshot editor in Austin, Texas, until I moved to Georgia and I don't have a job. So, because as I was talking to him, I said, you're totally overqualified for what I am asking you to do, right? I mean, I'm asking you to edit little 5 and 10 minute long videos that are going to go on my YouTube channel. And let's be honest, I'm no Mark Rober. I'm not doing Mr. Beast type videos.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I know, but I think it would be fun. And even if I do get a job working in the film industry or whatever, I'd still be able to do this on the side. So yeah, he's been with us for over a year now. And he will occasionally like come and film on location because he's in town. So if I say, hey, I'm going to go shoot a video of this $1 million mansion, I want you to bring all of your gear with your microphone and your fancy stuff, not my, entry level camera equipment.
That's
and
awesome.
He will film it and then do the editing. Yeah, it's really been great.
So good. It's weird for me to hear you say, this sounds awful, but I live in San Diego. Hey, here it's $1 million mansion.
I know. Isn't that funny?
Like that's
a starter home.
That's a starter home here in San Diego, unfortunately.
I know. Our median home price has gone way up since COVID. It's now $350.
That's the median. Oh my gosh.
I'm buying an investment property right now for $192,000. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single family home that's about 1,400 square feet. Isn't that crazy? You're like, I get a parking space for that price in San Diego.
Seriously. Seriously. Yeah. This is completely side note, but I was reading an article the other day about the most expensive home, if it sells, in the entire country. And I don't know how long, whatever, but it's up in LA and it's like 250 million or 280 million or some stupid number.
Wow.
And the thing that jumped out at me was the master bedroom, the master suite was 5,500 square feet. Just a master suite. I was like, what? Like, that's ridiculous.
That's a gymnasium. Why?
Yeah.
What could you possibly have in there that's 5,500 square feet?
Exactly.
So funny.
I don't know. So you do launches.
Yes.
What types of launches do you do?
I do the challenge model. I tried doing webinars at the beginning and they were fine, but they were not amazing. And then I went to a challenge model. And oh my gosh, that was amazing. And I think the reason why that works so well is because I have a fairly large Facebook group. So I do the challenge inside the Facebook group.
A Facebook group that you always have.
Yes. Yeah. I've tried the pop-up group and it was a lot more work to put it up and take it down. And it didn't seem like it was giving any greater numbers. So it's just my always open Facebook group. We run ads to say, hey, we're doing our next 5-day challenge. You should come. Anybody who signs up for that is prompted to join the Facebook group because that's where we'll be doing the training. And a lot of the people are already in the group, but a lot of people are not yet. So we're constantly growing the size of this group. It's now got 21,000 people in it, I believe. And
wow, that's great.
It's wonderful because if they join, say 10 days in advance of the challenge starting, they're getting indoctrinated into that group. They're seeing what other people have said. They're seeing all of these wins that people are sharing. I love it. Like somebody gets on there and says, oh my gosh, I just got my first phone call from somebody that hired me from my YouTube video. Woo. And then everybody jumps in. Yay. Oh my gosh. What was your video about? How long did it take you? And all that sort of stuff. So we're getting all of this social proof. And I'm not saying any of it. It's what the other people are saying that this works. So by the time the challenge begins, they're all primed and ready for it and they're hyped up. And we go live for about an hour a day for 5 days in a row. And on day 1, I tell them, this is the agenda for the 5 days. I do have a coaching program. On day 5, I'm going to tell you all about it. I promise this is not going to be a big sales pitch the whole 5 days, but I want to be totally transparent because yes, I do have this program. If you like the challenge and you think this is something that you want to master, I have an opportunity for you to be able to work with me directly. And I have found that seems to work very, very well because people appreciate being told right up front, like she's got something to sell. But at the same time, I'm saying I'm not going to just be shoving it down your throat for the next 4 hours straight. And then on day 5, when I say, okay, I hope you've loved this challenge. I've had so much fun doing it. I'm seeing all of your comments and this is wonderful. Let me tell you about the program. When we did this last time, it was in November. I think we had something like 135 people enroll. So it was crazy how many people signed up for the program from this 5-day challenge.
So what's the price point again?
It is now, because that was another thing that we had to work on was the pricing. I raised the price. It is now, if they pay in full, it is $14.97. If they do the 6-month payment plan, it's $299 a month for 6 months.
Okay. How many people did you have registered?
I have all my numbers right in front of me because I knew you were
I
going
was
to
going to
ask me
ask you
that.
numbers.
I had 2,569 people register for the challenge and joined. Let's see, 1,800 of those were paid leads. About 700 of those were organic leads. And we had 113 people pay in full, and we had 66 people do the payment plan. And then we did a little order bump as well. That was, remember that digital planner that I created? So the order bump was, hey, you want to get a copy of my digital planner? You can add that to your order. It'll be half price. And then they have it's like a day planner you can put on your iPad that helps them with their scheduling of their YouTube content.
Love it.
Yeah.
You had 1,800-ish paid leads.
Yes.
And you said 2,500 or so registrants for this.
Yes.
And you had what do you say, 183 sales people?
Yeah.
enroll?
181 total purchases.
I mean, the conversion rate on that kind of program, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Were you able to see how many of the 1,800 cold leads, quote unquote, turned into customers?
No, I didn't break it down that way. I should have, but I didn't. I just looked at my cost per lead because I wanted to know that number. I wanted to know my earnings per lead. I wanted to know all of that stuff because, back in the day when I was afraid to spend money on ads.
Well, we were getting to that next.
Yeah. I mean, $10 a day on Facebook was oh, that made me nervous. $20 a day. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to take out a second mortgage on my house to spend $20 a day on Facebook ads. And now we're how much should we run for this campaign? How about 40,000? So we spent 40,000 on Facebook ads for this particular launch, and our total revenue is 287,000.
I love it.
Yeah.
What was your cost per lead?
It was, let's see where it was. It's so funny because I remember reading somewhere that it should be at least $20, and my cost per lead, my earnings per lead is $112.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So wait, what was your cost per lead?
My cost per lead was $15. And that, that's gone up since all of these crazy changes with the iOS and blah, blah, blah. The previous launch in August, it was more like $20 a lead. So I was happy that it went back down again. It was $15.57. But then the earnings per lead is $112.
Yeah.
So that to me is okay, I can spend this much money on ads knowing how much it's going to bring in. So all we have to do is just increase the ad spend, and in theory, we should sell that much more. And
you've done this enough now. And by the way, just a quick refresher for everybody listening who doesn't know what an earnings per lead is. It's basically total revenue divided by the number of sales that you've had. And so an earnings per lead of $112, that means for every person who signed up, the quote unquote earnings per person is $112. Well, if Karin's paying $15 and whatever, 50 cents, she's paying $15.50 to get people into the launch. And then the earnings per person in the launch is 112. So the bigger the gap, the better. Now, I remember the very first conversation that we had about ads, and that was one of the big mindset challenges that you'd had was, I think you were spending $5,000 per launch or something like that.
I'm sure it was less than that. It was probably more like 3.
I think we doubled it to $10K, and there was a lot of mindset drama around that.
There was a lot of mindset drama around that.
Incrementally, you were increasing it because you were becoming more confident with, the support of looking at the numbers and seeing what was going on. And I remember you're like, oh, that worked really well. Let's go up again. And I think you gradually went up. You went to $15K. And then you have a good memory.
I'm looking at my spreadsheet. You want to know what it was? So I joined the program in July of 2020, and I did a launch in August because I remember that I joined the program. I'm like, okay, I'm doing a launch next month.
Right.
And you guys were going, I don't know that we can really like pull this all together in the next 4 weeks, but I already had it on the books. So we were doing it. And I spent $8,600 on my Facebook ads campaign for that launch, which was more than double anything I had ever spent previously.
Yeah.
And then the next one was 15,000. The next one was 26,000. The next one was 40,000. The next one was 40,000. So it's been going up and up. I was planning to do more this time around, quite honestly, but the whole thing with Facebook ads has been so volatile. And then I heard your podcast where you were interviewing the YouTube ads guy. And so we're doing more money on YouTube ads this next time around to see how that will compare.
Love it. Love it. And yeah, I do remember that. I remember these conversations we went to 86. You went to 8,600 on that first launch.
Yeah.
I'd recommended 10, but you were like, a little bit too much of a jump. Let's pick the middle.
I know.
Let's pick the middle and we'll kind of like start there. But that was really what, as I remember, that was really the sort of conduit to, you got more confidence in running your ads. And that allowed you to like, okay, getting more confident. You are tracking all your numbers. Like you just looked at your spreadsheet and rattled those off. Now you have a really good sort of benchmark for your average cost per lead that you've been doing. Granted, yes, iOS really shuffled things. But now you have an average of your earnings per lead.
Yeah.
And you can have a pretty good guess now of like, if I spend this much money on ads and I bring in this many leads, this is what I can expect to be generating.
Because on that first one where we spent $8,600, the total launch revenue was $123,000. So that was the first time I'd ever had a 6-figure launch.
Yep.
And I went home and told my husband, I'm like, okay, remember how much money I told you I was going to spend on the Facebook ads, and we both kind of had heart failure? We spent less than $9,000 to make 123.
Right.
Like, I will do that all day, every day for the rest of my life. Right. Because we, now that we're tracking these numbers, and that was a big thing that I learned from being an Accelerator was I have always told myself I'm not good at math. I don't like the numbers. I don't understand the numbers. I don't want to measure the numbers. But now that I have this spreadsheet in front of me and every single one of those numbers is tracked, I can look at it and say, why not spend $50,000 on the ad? Because we know what the return on investment is going to be. And so if I want to have a $500,000 launch, maybe I'm going to spend $75,000 on ads, which, it still kind of gives me a little bit of heart failure to say it out loud. But we know every time we scale the amount, we get more people in the door. And then how great is that, by the way, when you're going live and you have 500 people on live with you? Oh my goodness. It is so exciting. And the energy, and then everybody is commenting and they're seeing, and they're going, this is a real live webinar. This is not one of the pre-recorded on-demand webinars where they're trying to make you think that it's live, but it's really not. They know that it's live because I'll say, oh, Susan from Miami, I see you. And then they know that, oh, she just acknowledged me. This is really real. And it just, I don't know, the more people that are in there, the better the launch does, the more fun it is. And it's really fun.
It energizes you rather than what it does for most people of like, draining them.
Yes. I know. I talk to a lot of people that are like, I never want to do a live launch again. And me, I love it, but I was doing it quarterly and that was too much. I was doing one a quarter and it felt like no sooner would the launch end and we went, phew, okay, that it was time to start planning the next one. So then last year in 2021, I did 3. And now in 2022, I'm only going to do 2. I'm going to do one in May and one in November. And I figured I'm just going to spread them 6 months apart. And we're doing the open the doors, close the doors. So now they're not able to get into the program. And I have mixed feelings on that, because on the one hand, you have a huge launch because there's scarcity and urgency, but then you don't have a ton of money coming in every single month after that, except the people from the payment plan. So we're thinking of, well, what if we ran this quiz funnel to an evergreen webinar? And we would say, the doors are only going to open for 5 days. You're going to be allowed to come in because you watched the webinar. But if you choose not to, you don't come in until the next open enrollment period. So we just started doing that. We don't really have a lot of numbers yet to report back, but.
Oh, so you're already running that funnel.
We are. Yeah.
Okay.
And it will be very interesting to see how that performs.
You could also start a wait list in addition to that, like for people who don't sign up, for example. It's like, hey, here's a wait list. You'll be the first to know. And then you could do maybe 2-day, promotions where it's like, hey, I'm opening the cart for 2 days here to allow only people on my wait list to join us.
Oh,
here's the opportunity.
Okay. Never thought about doing that because I have the wait list, but I haven't marketed specifically to them while they're on the wait list. So
yeah, wait lists, and I've been guilty of this in the past as well, is like we should be treating them a little bit differently because they've raised their hands and say, hey, I want to be, I'm interested in your program. I want to be the first to know. And when we can give them that sort of VIP treatment, if you will, to say, you know what, well, whatever that VIP treatment looks like, a great way to do it and to generate some revenue in between when you're doing the launches is like, hey, I'm going to be doing a 48-hour promotion here. You can jump in. And when you do, maybe you also get this bonus or whatever it might be. Or it could be as simple as, hey, you're on the wait list. I'm only opening this to you right now for the next 48 hours. Here's your chance to jump in.
Got it.
One thing I'm really curious about, are you tracking the people that sign up for past launches who don't purchase that maybe they purchased this past time? Like, are you tracking that? So like for people who opted into a launch in whatever, July of last year, and if you just wrap it up and just say December, they didn't purchase in July, but they did purchase in December. Is that something that you're tracking?
We ran the numbers and we got the numbers. I didn't write them down, so I don't have them in front of me.
But at least you're tracking that.
Interesting. Yeah, we did. We tracked it because then I thought, well, is there something we could do within our active campaign email manager to go after the people that have attended before and then did not buy? And we've thought about doing the post survey and just have not pulled the trigger on it yet. That's another task I got to give to the VA and say, this is your baby. I want to make that happen. Of thanks for coming to the program or to the 5-day challenge. You did not buy. And then here's a little survey. And then thanks for coming to the challenge. You did purchase. Here's a survey. What made you join? And then gather all of that data and start using it in our marketing efforts.
Yeah. And for the people who did not purchase, you can have them there's obviously different ways to do it. One way that I've done it in the past that works really, really well because it removes the barrier and just makes it a whole lot easier. We want to hear directly what their words are rather than putting words in their mouth about like, choose which option describes why you didn't do it.
Right.
Well, it's like, hey, just hit reply to this email in one sentence. Let us know why you chose not to continue your learning or something like that. Then it's just a matter of like, okay, hit reply, boom. And then your VA can collect all that and put it into an easy way for you to review it and check that out.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
So what are other things? What are other things that you would attribute to this massive growth that you've had? We talked about team. We talked about sort of the mindset around delegating your launches, your confidence in ads and so forth. Are there any other things?
Yes, I hired Brittany McBean as a copywriter to redo my sales page. And that was crazy. That the sales page that I had before, which I had pretty much written, and I was very proud of it. I thought I did a dang good job, if I do say so myself. It converted at 5%. Brittany comes in over,
which is amazing.
Which was fine. She comes in and fixes it. Now it's converting at like 14%. Actually, in the last launch, it went up. Yeah, I think it went up to 16% or something like that. So it's just insane that the words on the landing page, just like you said, when you are saying their words back to them and they say, oh my gosh, you are in my head. This is exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. It's not like we're manipulating people in tricking them into buying. It's that I know exactly what their pain point is. And when I can tell them, this is how my solution addresses that pain point and fixes it for you. And by the way, look at all of these testimonials from people who have done it and are seeing amazing success.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them more likely to want to sign up and take part in the program. So yeah, getting the help of a professional copywriter has been huge.
And that's one of those, one time. Brittany isn't cheap. I'm going to Voxer her right after this and give her a big head for the day and tell her that we talked about her here on the podcast. She's a very good friend of mine, BrittanyMcBean.com. Brittany is our copywriting coach in Accelerator. She's also, I've had her on the podcast. Depending on when this episode comes out, she's either recently been on or just about to be on. I think she's just recently be on. I think you're going to come out after her, but she's my personal copywriter for our business. She's rewritten our entire business, basically. She's amazing. And that's one of those investments where and I have no idea what the investment was, but it's not cheap, right? To hire a copywriter who knows what they're doing. But as you just explained, you were at 5% conversion on your sales page, which is very, very good, and took it up to 14, 16%, which is really high, especially on a $1,500 product. How are you feeling when you made that initial investment? Were you kind of like, ooh, that's a lot of money?
I was terrified. Yeah. I was like, is there any way that we can not have to do that much and spend that much money? And then when it converted so well on the very first launch that it basically paid her fee probably 7 times over. And now everything after this is just 100% profit.
Sure.
It really made me think of, I need to start relying more on experts in their field. I need to stop trying to do this all myself and find people who are better at their craft than I am and pay for them. And so hence joining Accelerator, hence hiring Brittany, hence hiring Neil. I joined Chris Plackey's program, How to CEO. All of these people that you invest in these programs, and you're right, they are not cheap. They are many thousands of dollars. Yeah. Everything that I learn, it seems like it pays itself back multiple times over. I can't throw money at learning fast enough these days. I'm like a self-improvement junkie because I know there's not a single dollar that I've invested in myself that has not had a return on investment.
And it's working. It works for you because you actually implement. You actually
that's the hard
do
part,
the
isn't
work
it?
in the process.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to get overwhelmed and then say, I'm just not going to do it. And I have to sometimes force myself like, we got a coaching call today and I'm so busy and I don't have time to go to the coaching call. And that's when I know I need the coaching call more than anything else.
Right.
So
at what revenue level did you hire Brittany? Did you're hiring a copywriter to redo your page? Do you remember?
Well, that was when I was in Accelerator. So that was probably the year that I did 750,000 in revenue. So I wasn't quite there yet, but I knew that I was going to do at least 500.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So copywriter, mindset, investing in mentors, coaches, anything else?
And then growing that team and really, that is the struggle, right? Is being able to say, I trust the team. They can do this. They do not need me to sit there and micromanage them. They do not need my input. They can do this alone. And that is something that is an ongoing process, shall we say.
So so OBM, I'm assuming part-time contractor?
Yes.
EA, same thing?
Yes. She is 20 hours a week.
Okay. VA, are they full-time?
Yeah. The VA in the Philippines, because it's just such a smoking deal that they are 40 hours a week.
Okay.
And it's not the same person working 40 hours. It might be one person does this project and one person does this project, but I kind of get them all. And I don't have to train them. I tell the head person, this is what I want. So we're doing a quiz funnel and Brittany set that up as well, which is really cool. So you come to the website, there's this, hey, take this quiz. You fill out all of the questions. It gives you the answer. This is the profile that you are. It sends them a follow-up email sequence, which Brittany wrote, and then it directs them to this evergreen webinar. So I said to Lisa, the head VA, I want to know the metrics for this quiz funnel so far. I mean, we haven't been running it very long, but I think it's been at least 30 days. So I'd love to see how many people started it, how many people completed the entire quiz, how many people were in each bucket, because one of the categories was you're not right for the program. You need to, you're not there yet. Let's warm you up. Let's nurture you. Let's give you more education. And then maybe in the future we'll concentrate on these other 3 people. And then when I drive them, hey, I've got doing this free masterclass, you should come. How many people actually click on it and take it? And then when they sit through the masterclass, how many people buy? So I want to look at all of those numbers and say, which of these numbers can we improve upon? Like, is it the conversion on the webinar? Do I need to re-record the webinar because I was not compelling enough in my video that I did? Or I don't think it's a sales page, because let's be honest, the sales page is amazing. It could be one of the emails, like the subject line is not exciting enough, so they don't click on it and they don't open it, and then they never know that the webinar is even available to watch. So I want her to give me this report. And in fact, she sent me a message in Slack right before I jumped on. It was like, here is our report. So now we'll analyze all those numbers and see where can we tweak, make some adjustments to try to raise that number.
This warms my heart, because you're looking at the numbers within the funnel to figure out what areas you need to optimize. And you already know that the sales page converts well. So it's like, okay, we can check that one off.
Probably not the sales page.
Probably not the sales page. Yeah. I love it.
It could be my webinar. It could be the masterclass that I am doing. Do we need to change the slides? Do I need to, I don't know. I was not high energy enough the day that I recorded it. Who knows what it'll be? So yeah. And like I said, I never used to track these numbers because I don't like numbers. I'm the artsy creative person. I just want to go make a YouTube video. I don't want to deal with all this crazy stuff. But then when you look at those numbers and you see like, oh, I could spend $15 to acquire a new lead who will turn into a, $1,500 customer. And then those people become raving fans when they go through the program and it works for them and they start making money and all of the things. Yeah. It's like, okay, time to stop telling myself that numbers are scary and change my mindset about that, which I have. And now I love the data. I like sit there at my little spreadsheet, typing in the numbers.
This makes me so happy.
I know.
So you've got 5 people on the team, one of whom is full-time. Well, their team is full-time. So there's so many people think like, oh, in order to have $1 million business, I have to have this huge team, has to be all super complicated and intricate and, connecting all these things. Sounds pretty simple to me here with what you've built. How many hours a week are you working?
That's my favorite part. So on a busy week, about 35. On a slow week, about 25. Typically, it's somewhere around 30.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So what about profit margin? I guess my final question.
Our profit margin for 2021 was 60%. And when I was talking to my bookkeeper, Emily, who I also met, like everybody awesome in my life, I've met through you. So thank you. You are the ultimate connector of people. Yep. Emily, I said, is that good? I feel like I should raise that number. And she said, well, you did take a lot of owner draw last year. So maybe we could lay off the remodeling of the kitchen. And so if I can leave more in the bank and spend less, that number will go up. But I also found that I was paying for software that I never used. There were all these stupid expenses that I had that were absolutely just wasted money. So I went through and I gave a ton of them the axe in December. And that's my goal, is I want to raise that profit margin by at least 5%. I think that's totally doable.
Totally. Yeah. So since you left the program, we have really honed in on the 3 pillars of more profit, more impact, less hustle. You've checked all those boxes. You have a great profit margin. You're helping way more people. You're helping so many more realtors grow their business, which in turn affects not only their lives and their families' lives, but also the people that they're helping either sell the home or get into a new home. And less hustle. On a busy week, you're doing 35 hours a week. On a slower week, quote unquote, it's about 25 hours a week.
Yeah.
And you've done this through optimizing your sales and marketing, what we went through here today, your systems and processes, which involves your team and stuff like that, and everything else, the tools that you're using, and then also your mindset, which we've talked about here today.
Yep. And
Amazing.
truthfully, that's the biggest one for me. I don't know if that's how it is for the majority of people, but it's putting the systems into place. Like when you tell us, do this, track this number, here's the spreadsheet. That part's actually the easy part. It's me getting in my own darn way. That's the hard part. And saying, you have this team and they are perfectly capable. Why are you not delegating more? And so my previous launch, my goal was 500,000. I didn't even get to 250. I felt like the biggest loser ever. I was so sad. I was like, woe is me.
Isn't that interesting? You did 250 grand.
Exactly. And I said to Neil said to me, what do you think this was here to teach you? And I'm like, it's to teach me that I suck, and I did all of that. And then I thought, okay, really, what is this here to teach me? It was that I was not relying on these skilled people that I have hired to be on my team. I need to delegate more. And it is teaching me that I need to become the CEO of the 7-figure business that has a 500K launch. And what do I need to do to grow into that person? So over the last 4 months, did a whole lot of working on my mindset and my outlook and trying to do all of those things. And then bam, that next launch was amazing because we had a whole timeline of 60 days before, 30 days before, 45 days before, a week before, 2 days before, who is doing all of the things. And I didn't have to do any of it except show up and be live for 5 days. And it was amazing that the less I did, the more we made and the happier everybody was.
I love it. I'm like, I think we should just end right there. By the way, to answer your question, like mindset is the number one thing that most people or that people need, but they don't think they need it.
Right.
Because we always think like, oh, no, mindset isn't, we need to set this funnel up, or we need to do our sales page this way, or need to write emails this way, or whatever. All those things are important. Yes. However, you got to have the mindset first and foremost. And interesting conversation on our Monday Accelerator call that we just had this week. This sort of conversation came up around mindset. And they were like, well, I just want to be a better leader. I want to, and that was it. Like, well, amazing, but it's not like you hit, March 30th and you're a better leader, right? It's like, and you're learning and you're doing, and your mindset, this is an ongoing journey. It's not like you hit a day and like, boom, we're good.
I've arrived. It's all better now.
My mindset is okay now.
Yeah.
So congratulations again. I am so proud of you. I am so beyond happy for you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming on and sharing this story with us. Where can people connect with you? Because people are going to want to take this quiz. People are going to want to see what you're doing in the Facebook group. They want to come take part in this launch, tell their realtor friends. What are all the places that people can connect with you?
You can go to karincarr.com. You can follow me on my YouTube channels. I have 2 channels. One is for people that want to buy and sell a house in the Savannah area, and the other is to teach real estate agents how to use video to get more clients. I've got this awesome little Facebook group for real estate agents called YouTube for Real Estate Agents, and
21,000 strong, this little group.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'll link everything up in the show notes for today's episode. Karin, thank you again for coming on here and sharing this. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me back. I was so excited when I hit that number. I was like, Rick is the first person I'm telling.
You emailed me.
I did.
And I read that email. Gretchen forwarded it to me and I was like, this has just made my week.
Good.
Like, I was at the biggest smile on my face.
Not any bigger than mine, I guarantee you.
I would imagine. So good. So good. Hey, if you're an established online course creator, or you're an online coach, or maybe you're a teacher, entrepreneur, and you're looking to take things to the next level in your business, you want to achieve a level of success that you have not yet achieved in your business, whatever success looks like for you, but yet you're feeling stuck, maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not really sure what next steps to be taking, how to be spending your time, growing your business, simplifying your sales and marketing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then I want to invite you to apply for our Accelerator coaching program. This is one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and a mastermind experience that is very personalized for you, by the way. This is not like cookie cutter. Then I want to invite you to apply. It's application only. Applications are ongoing. Go to rickmulready.com/accelerator. We help you create more profit, more impact with less hustle. Again, it's rickmulready.com/accelerator. All right, my friend, thank you as always for tuning in today. Super appreciate you. Until next time, be well, and I'll talk to you soon.